Here we go.
Money, money. What's going on, YOLTY dividend stackers? Welcome back to the channel. Just a quick reminder, this is not financial advice. This channel is about full transparency. I'm showing you exactly what I'm doing with my own money, all inside of YOLTY. Win, lose, or even if it goes to zero. That is the experiment. That is the YOLO. In today's video, my updated account with new transparency on how much I put in out of pocket, a simple breakdown of how YOLTY really works and what's coming up next. We'll show you how to dig into YOLTY, how it makes its money. So let's dive in. So here is the updated account straight from my spreadsheet. YOLTY price right now is sitting at $5.47 in after hours. It did close at $5.49. My unrealized loss is coming in at a negative 9.43% or a negative $353. That is an ouch. But my true gain, including dividends, is now a negative $114, which that is a negative 3.26%. So I did add a new transparency feature here. I had a viewer ask if I was adding the dividends to the market value, and I realized that it was a little more confusing even for myself to explain. So I did fix it. I want to be transparent to everyone. So right now it will show another option there of seeing the out-of-pocket invested, which currently is sitting at $3,505.58. That, of course, is all money that I deposited to the account that I invest. The net invested now shows the dividends plus the out of pocket, which ends up being $3,744.75. This way you can see exactly how much my cash is versus the amount that was invested with the dividends, if that makes sense. So let me dive a little bit deeper and show you the dividends and how much was bought. So the bottom line is, yes, we are still in the red, but this channel is about honesty and accountability. And the whole point is to keep dripping, keep tracking, and showing you everything. Part of that is the dividends. Dividends collected so far are $239.17. And that is cash flow coming back to us while the share price keeps dumping. The dividend that was actually deposited to my account from YieldMax ended up being $54.90. And as you can see here on the spreadsheet, I do have that accounted here for the $239.17 as is on the chart here, the $54.90 that the dividends are just paid out. When I go to the dividend tab here, you can see here that the gross dividend that was paid was $54.90. So that would actually be 9.85 total dripped shares. However, what would happen, I cannot get filled at the $54.90 amount, which that was the $5.49 that we had spoken about on Wednesday. I was able to get filled at $5.52 for a total of $55.20. So that ended up being 10 shares. And the reason why that is because Robinhood only allows you to do full shares. Therefore, I ended up buying 10 shares, which I spent a little bit more than what the dividend was. So that's why I have it here marked in orange. And if you remember from last week, I had 14 cents left over, so I didn't spend the whole amount. However, I still spent more than the $54.90 there, and it's definitely more than the 14 cents. But that's just something to track. I may have to do it in even shares here, especially if I want to do that. Did not account for that. But being total transparent here, and that is how that came to be. So you can see here that on September 3rd, 2025 at 6:56 p.m. Mountain Time, I did get filled for those 10 shares at the $5.52 price. So that does bring my total market value to $33.91.47. As you can see here, what the actual total return is for today, and then the total return, which is what we are showing on the spreadsheet here. My total amount of shares, 620, and it is 100% of my portfolio diversity. Quickly sharing where our margin status is here. My total maintenance required right now is $1,187 and a penny. My buffer is sitting at $776.94, which is almost 28%. And my portfolio value actually is $2,776.94. The margin I'm using right now is $614.53, which gives me a total margin available of $2,552.30. I am using that margin, but because of the first $1,000 interest free, I am not getting charged that interest. And one thing that I want to make sure that we keep an eye on here is the maintenance ratio. This on my account keeps jumping up and down. I've seen it go to 50%, 25%, 40%, all in the same day. Today is sitting at 35%, but you just want to be careful with that because you could get margin called. So I'm trying to get that buffer a little bit higher here on my main page on Robinhood. It is showing the $2,776.94. One thing I have created, and I will show you guys later, is I actually created a ULTY holding list that shows me exactly all the holdings that are currently being held by ULTY. And I will show you guys how I'm going to use that here, especially next week. But this shows us exactly what is there and how the account would be doing for ULTY. Why would the price be up or down on them? So it's really interesting to see that. And that's where the exciting part is. I'll be pulling YieldMax daily trade disclosures every day going forward. And starting next Sunday, we'll test if we can actually predict the next dividends payout for the September 19th payout. Imagine being able to say next week's dividend looks like 8 cents or maybe 12 cents before it's even announced. It's not guaranteed, but it'll be fun and it'll make us sharper dividend stackers. So moving on to how ULTY really works, let's break it down in simple terms. It is a weekly options income machine. Plain summary, YieldMax sells options each week on high volatility names like Tesla, Coin, Palantir, IonQ, simply to collect cash, which we can refer to it as RAM. YieldMax uses part of that cash to buy protection, which are puts, and a touch of upside, which are calls. Income made off of these options, which was RAM, is paid as dividends. While upside, the stock is capped, and the big trends can push the NAV down. Basically, think of it like ULTY is a landlord. Each week, it rents out options on high volatility names like Tesla, Coinbase, and Palantir. That rent is the option premium. ULTY uses part of it to buy insurance or puts. It takes a little upside with calls, and the rest gets paid to us as dividends. The weekly playbook looks like this, and this is where the dividends actually come from. ULTY sells calls and puts. It generates a weekly premium. It collects a premium, which is a source of dividends. It then pays the dividends, which are the weekly distributions. Buy puts are downside insurance, and buy calls are for some upside participation. The upside is intentionally capped to generate premium, which is the source of our dividends. So this shows a little bit of the performance in the dividends paid. As you can see, I started tracking on 7/18 because that's when I invested into ULTY. But you can see how it has consistently paid between 9 cents and 10 cents. However, the price has dropped down. On 7/1, it was sitting at $6.19. On 8/1, $6.12. And on 9/2, $5.63. And today it's sitting at $5.47. When it pays and when it hurts. The good weeks is really when it's choppy, sideways price action because it falls within the option strikes. The high implied volatility that then cools off, is option decay, actually makes this good. And there is no single name in the basket making a massive one direction move. And this is a tough week, so when it hurts. Strong uptrends or downtrends that run through the strikes. The volatility expansion after selling options, or the concentration risk if a big name rips or dumps. So ULTY thrives in the middle, and that's why NAV drifts lower over time while the dividend machine keeps running. The best weeks are sideways and choppy, and the worst weeks are strong uptrends or downtrends because those eat right through the option strikes. So if Tesla rips up, that is actually a bad thing for us, or really any stock that ULTY holds or has options on. In the future, I will also try to put something together to show where the price of each stock should stay in order to be able to track that and see actually where we're at day by day. In those cases, I may actually start making daily videos, but let me know what you think.
So these are some examples
Of what ULTY is trading right now based on their last disclosures that you can find on the YieldMax webpage. Some of those you may know, some of those you may not. But basically, these carry a lot of volatility, which is good for options trading as far as collecting a premium. Primary goal, deliver current income each week and month. Secondary, have some exposure to stocks move up with the upside capped. ULTY screens for high implied volatility in liquid options because those pay a richer option, which is rent. Typically, they'll trade around 15 to 30 names, but it can be as little as 5. And it focuses around events like earnings. It may hold shares directly or use synthetic longs, which are buys and calls for an efficient exposure. It does diversify across sectors when possible and avoids a greater than 25% in any single industry definition. And all this you can find on the prospectus inside the YieldMax website. So simply, what the fund actually does is sells options to collect a premium and mixes strategies to keep some upside while staying hedged. The positions are covered or spread based. If single name options are too pricey or illiquid, it may use a substitute ETF. Premium levels rise and fall with volatility. The manager times rolls positions based on market conditions. So there are real risks with this, and you got to keep the expectations real. The ETF shares trades above and below NAV and have bid-ask spreads. It relies on the APs, market makers for liquidity. And that's why you may see the price go up and down apart from the NAV. Even covered option strategies can lose money. Rolling into new options after losses can be challenging. And not a complete portfolio. Derivatives, sector tilts, and market shocks can all hurt returns. And this goes a little bit into what we will be reviewing as far as the file. So quickly, let me show you where you find all this information. On the YieldMaxETFs.com website, under the ULTY one, you go down all the way to the bottom or towards the bottom, and you'll see here the holdings. So top 10 holdings of what ULTY currently holds. And this is as of 9/8, so it's the most current one. You have the intraday trades download here. So every single day, that's what I'll be tracking. I'll be downloading it and tracking it and see if we can kind of estimate of how much or what trades were done, what was open, what was closed, and how much you'll be paying out. And down here, you'll actually see the total holdings. This is what the intraday looks like. You can see here all the trades that were made. And I will show you real quick on the other screen what this stands for. A lot of information to geek out on, especially, options, especially to dissect that. By far, I am no expert, but it's really fun to go in there and try to figure everything out. And here you'll actually have all the holdings, and you can actually see the actual shares that they're holding for the respective stock. And that's where this will come in handy. The types codes, basically a B equals buy to open, right? It opens a long position or it buys a stock. The BC, buy to close, closes a short position. An S is a sell to close, closes a long position or sells a long stock. And the SS is sell shorts to open. It opens a short position or a short stock. So on the file, I do have some examples there. We will not go into it. This is just for information purposes, but it's really, again, something to be able to geek out on if you really know what that information is. And dividend stackers, before we wrap this up,
I just want to share a big milestone
alert. We just hit 282 subscribers. This community is growing crazy fast in such a short time. So thank you to every single one of you ULTY dividend stackers. We are officially on the road to 500 subs and building something special here. The transparency, the data, and the stacking And that's what separates us.
So here's what I have planned for next week. Next weekend, we'll break down ULTY's roster. We'll look at all their holdings and we'll try for the first time to predict the 919 dividend. Again, it won't be perfect, but it will be fun. I will leave you with this reminder from Peter Lynch. The real key to making money in stocks is not to get scared out of them. That is why we drip, that's why we track, and that is why we stay transparent here at ULTY YOLO. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know if you're stacking with me. Until next time, stackers, keep stacking. ULTY YOLO out.